Hi everyone, this one might be slightly different than usual. There will be a lot more talking and hopefully it will make it a little bit more fun. At the Motueka airport and we are ready for departure. I am sitting in the Avenger Pro with 202 degrees of field of view. The controls are Thrustmaster Warthog and Thrustmaster rudder pedals, and I have their SimPit motion system which does constant acceleration cueing. Currently I'm taxiing to runway 02 and I'm getting ready to take off to Kaiteriteri. In real life there's not so many trees and they are definitely not so tall, and the buildings are usually a bit smaller as well. I will do a very quick engine check. All my P's and T's are fine. I've got plenty of fuel and flaps are down, so I'm ready to go. There is a little bit of crosswind from right, but pretty much no issue. Takeoff was super easy. I am using live weather and I have no traffic. The sim is set up to maximum and ultra settings as high as I could get it, and the RTX 3090 is doing absolutely amazing job. I've got it overclocked a little bit by about 80 megahertz. And exactly the same with the processor. It's a little bit higher at 4200 if I remember well. The scenery looks really good. My only complaint would be the trees. There's just way too many and way too big. Here I'm heading to Kaiteriteri, very popular tourist destination, especially for summer. Normally that part is dry, and over here that's where you usually swim. On the horizon you can see Abel Tasman National Park, and a little bit to our left there is Marahau, a super popular destination for kayaking. Around this area, that's where it usually gets bumpy in Abel Tasman pretty much as you enter it, and I have to say the simulator is simulating it really well. I'm trying to keep the 500 AGL. I had a little play with the views. I'm still trying to learn how the Flight Sim 2020 operates, because it's a little bit different than what I'm used to. There should be Awaroa. What I was trying to say here was that over there's Awaroa, and there's a very nice landing strip. There's nice cafe and restaurant. You can land there with airplane or helicopter, and you can hop off, have a coffee, hop in the water and have a swim. I was very happy to see the cafe there as well as the runway, so I've decided to do pretty much straight in, the usual, around the hill and then along the hillside and onto the runway. Although calling it a runway is a little bit charitable, but you will see in a moment. I have landed on that field in a helicopter several times. It's usually good fun, because with a helicopter you have quite a bit more options. With airplane you have to give yourself a little bit more space, and I find the fixed-wing airplanes don't hover that well, so you have to keep your speed up and know what you're doing. This is actually very accurate, because usually you have to clear the trees over here, and then you will get the crosswind from right. You can see I'm grabbing quite a bit over here. A little bit easier in a helicopter, that's for sure, but not too bad in a small airplane. On the way out, it looks like we might have a little bit of tailwind, so probably I will go all the way back. Otherwise, normally you would hop out of the airplane or out of the helicopter over here and then just walk into a cafe, have a little swim, and that's it. That's the way out. Plenty of room. Let's check. This time I gave it full throttle on the brakes. Normally you can run out of room very fast. Fortunately, this airplane has got plenty of power and it was very easy to take off. Now I'm heading across the hills towards Takeoff, slightly to the left, and I will be heading to Kahurangi. Usually the flight is super awesome fun because you go over that big ridge to Takeoff Valley and then you fly over Kahurangi National Park, which is just chock full of mountains. It's fantastic as long as you have sort of reasonable weather. Fun fact about New Zealand: if you have a good weather on one side of the island, on the other side it's not so good. Right now I am approaching the big drop-off, so when you're flying you're just about 500 AGL, and then suddenly out of the blue you're about 3,500 feet AGL. Now I've bumped the camera buttons and I'm trying to get back into normal views. And the trim is sorted. Now I will let the airplane fly straight in a very nice shallow climb to make sure we clear the cumulus granitus in front of us. This part of Kahurangi National Park is absolutely fantastic. There is a lot of little lakes which are popping out of nowhere, a lot of interesting geological formations, and a lot of mountains. If you have VFR map and you know how to use it, the terrain is very easy to navigate on a day like this. When you have a little bit of overcast, that's a little bit of different ball game, and as you can see, down south and out on the west coast, there's quite a bit of cloud, so it might get a little bit interesting later on. At the moment it still looks perfectly safe, but let's see. The fog down there is good indication something is going on. You can see clouds building on the west coast, and that's usually a very good warning sign to get ready for some surprises. At this stage I can already see where Kahurangi is supposed to be, and it's completely packed with clouds. So if that was a real life, I would be probably turning 180 and heading back either to Takeoff or to Motueka. But since this is a simulator and the airplane has got quite a good equipment, I felt quite comfortable to try to sneak around the cloud, have a look if I can spot the airfield, which is nowhere to be seen. I can sort of see the ground, but you can see it's completely filled with fog. I was hoping if I will go a little bit more out to the sea, I will find a hole and sneak underneath the clouds. Which didn't work out. Right now I'm flying a spot on 500 feet AGL, and that means 500 feet above the sea level directly. The clouds are going pretty much the whole way down. Basically it's a fog, and I cannot even see the coast. Instead of turning back, climbing up and landing back at the original airfield, I have decided to go IFR. There are two ways you can land in Kahurangi. One is from the sea, the other one is from the hills. The clouds bunched up against the hills, there was a good indication there is a little bit of wind coming from the sea, and I will have a tailwind. On the other hand, going through the hills in this fog, I didn't thought that would be a good idea. Lining up for the landing was a little bit easier than I thought. Should be around by somewhere in front of us. I was getting a little bit close to the stall speed, but fortunately I had really good angle, so I could just speed up. You can see the ground speed is a lot higher than on the previous landings, and that's due to tailwind. If you will have a look at the sock on the right side, there it is. Unfortunately, I have missed the turn to the taxiway, so I had to do a 180 and then taxi to the buildings. At that point, I thought I've been flying long enough and it's time to park it. Looks like the flight is done, so thanks for watching and see you on next one. Let me know if you would be interested in live videos, and if you have any other suggestions, put it in the comments.